Welcome to Season 8 of Village's Vitality Life, Seniors Life Unscripted. In this new season, we talk to leaders of clubs and interesting folks who live in and around the villages. We also talk to people who have information vital to seniors. You will get perspectives of what is happening in and around the villages, Florida. In addition, in this new season, we will add more information for all seniors. We are a listener-supported podcast.
This is Mike Roth on Villages Vitality, Senior Life Unscripted. I'm here today with Kiki Mickelson and Adrian Pellerin. Thanks for joining me, folks.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
You could say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, and you're live from my old stomping grounds in Brooklyn.
Yes, we are right here, Brooklyn, New York.
Now, let me give our listeners a little bit of your background. Kiki's been an improviser, an actor, and a musician living in Brooklyn. She's a co-creator of Shitzprobe and has been performing and teaching improv in New York City since 2012. She has performed and taught improv internationally with Baby Wants Candy, Blank, The Musical, Earn, Premiere, and more. Kiki holds a bachelor's degree of music from Oklahoma City University, and when she's not improvising, she can be seen singing with a chord treble choir in New York. Now, I'll tell our listeners a little bit about you, Adrian. Adrian Pellerin is a New York City-based comedian, writer with digital credits on Comedy Central and Adult Swim. Adrian, what is Adult Swim? Maybe some of our adults here in the villages don't understand what that is.
Have you ever heard of the Cartoon Network? It's a TV channel. It's been around for a while. So Adult Swim was...
Sure.
Yeah.
Never watch it, but...
Absolutely, yeah. Me neither, really. But Adult Swim is like their offshoot that has just weird, bizarre, like late-night comedy stuff. So I made a couple of things for them a few years ago.
Adrian is also produces Shitzprobe and music directs internationally hits like Baby Wants Candy. There's a show with a name that should come to the villages, Baby Wants Candy. He's performed at the Kennedy Center, Edinburgh Fringe, San Francisco Sketch Festival, the New York City Comedy Festival. His work has been featured by Vulture, Mashable, and Funny or Die. Now, Shitzprobe is, I ran into you folks, and I'll tell our audience the true story here. I had no idea what Shitzprobe was. I saw it in the schedule for the Improv Festival last July, and hey, I'll try some tickets for that. And in our improv group here in the villages, we were attempting to add more musical numbers to our repertoire. And so I saw that there were these musical workshops. So not being a really big guy on and singing, I decided to sign up. In high school, I was a trombone player, and for many years learned to play the trombone and play the piano, and fortunately or unfortunately learned that I had perfect pitch. It was an interesting experience to go through the workshop, told the folks about it, and a whole bunch of them were excited to hear that you were coming to the villages, and then the villages canceled your show twice, I guess for not selling enough tickets. Is that it? About it?
Just about.
There's so much we can do on our end.
Yeah, I had the feeling that they under-promoted your show tremendously on one side, and B, an improvised musical tell the adults here enough about what it was going to be to justify the unwarrantedly high ticket prices that they have.
Yeah.
They add about a ticket when a ticket is processed through the village's box office.
That's a lot.
And yeah, okay. Andy Huggins is coming. You know who he is? He's a comedian, an old guy.
Yeah.
He comes up to the microphone with a cane or a walker, and he starts his routine like something. I'm stiff all over my body. So I went to see my doctor. I wanted to know what I had. And he looks at me and says, "Oh, you have early onset rigor mortis."
Pretty good joke.
That is good.
And that's the beginning of his show. He's got a pretty good following on YouTube. And his $37 ticket, $52 a piece. And I said to my wife, we're just not going to pay that to the villages.
Yeah.
Might want to see Andy, but that's expensive. As an alternative for you guys, because you are a musical group, I'm going to strongly suggest that you contact the Orange Blossom Opry. That's just outside of the villages in Wearsdale. And they have a fantastic stage. They have a house band too. And you could perform your musical improv there.
Yeah.
Without picking up,
awesome.
And you could do it for more than one night in one show.
Oh, yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, we know there's so many people living there who want to see shows and want to see the arts, and understanding that what we do is unusual. And we changed the name when we tour to the Improvised Broadway musical to try and make it a little more clear. But you do have to buy into, I don't know what the show will be. You just kind of have to trust it's going to be great. But we would love to perform in the area.
My wife and I and several other of the improv players from the Villages are planning on going down to Sarasota to see you later this month.
Fantastic.
So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about how you came up with the idea of doing an improvised musical show with Broadway players and managed to put that whole thing together?
Allie is our other co-creator, co-producer, who's not here today. But Allie and Adrian and I have all been doing musical improv for long time. And Allie and I were actually put on a team together in 2013, so 13 years ago. And we bonded over both coming from musical theater backgrounds and had this desire to create a show that was not an improv show that happened to have music, but was a musical that happened to be improvised, if that distinction makes sense. So we met Adrian, who's just an incredible, I try not to say it too much because I don't want his head to get too big, but an incredible music director who creates really gorgeous, very musical theater works of music and leads such a great band. And so then the idea to bring in a Broadway person was, first of all, a show needs a hook, ideally, something that's different from other shows, but also in this kind of long-term project to bring musical improv out of the improv theaters and more into the theaters. I'm doing air quotes with my fingers. Just having people know what it is, having people in the industry know what it is. So when someone comes and does our show and it's great and they have a great time and they think it's so cool, then they go and they tell all of their people. And so slowly but surely penetrating the Broadway world and being like, this is not just cringy improv comedy in a basement. This is theater. This is just a different form of theater.
Yeah. And I think the name Shitzprobe embraces that idea. And I don't know if everyone knows, I guess, the internal joke of that, but Kiki, would you mind explaining me?
I would love to.
Almost no one knows that joke.
It's a very
that would be great for you.
Nobody gets.
Deeply niche. So in the Broadway, in musical theater and opera world, there's a term called a Shitzprobe, Sitzprobe. And that's the first time that the orchestra and the cast rehearse together. So it's like a kind of a read through of just the music. It's not on its feet. And so we say a Shitzprobe is the first time that a Broadway star improvises a musical. So that's what we do. We improvise musicals. So it's a play on that very niche word. And so certain rooms we go into, certain people are like, oh, that's so funny. But most people are like, I'm sorry, what?
That was the reaction you got out of me the first time I heard it. And I said, what? But improvised musical was interesting the first time I read it in the paper, but it wasn't interesting enough for me to buy a ticket because I didn't have enough of a hook. And hopefully this podcast will teach people a little bit about what an improvised musical is all about. When you're in Sarasota and I saw you do The Life of ABBA improvised musical, was just on the floor funny.
Oh, that was a great show. We had so much fun.
Yeah, and a lot of players to work with. What do you think the future holds for improvised musicals?
We think about that a lot. Like Kiki said, we started this project with the goal of bridging the worlds of underground improvised comedy with the world of Broadway musical theater. And it's been really cool to see how we've been able to merge those worlds. And like a lot of our cast members here in New York now are currently in Broadway shows that are running. So getting to play with those people of that caliber and like just create fun, silly, hilarious like shows with them in the moment is so fulfilling. And I think we have a long-term vision of wanting to bring a fully improvised musical to the Broadway stage. And I think that is totally possible. And it's a big lift. Putting up a Broadway show is insane. 90% of Broadway shows lose money And this is like a big risky thing for producers to take on because you don't know what the show is going to be night to night. But we know that we can consistently deliver a super fun, hilarious, amazing evening. So that's our dream. Beyond that, we've also had a lot of fun going to musical theater programs at universities and teaching what we do to students who are currently studying musical theater. And it's been really cool to see how these tools that we use to improvise musicals can help actors develop their own craft. It helps them find their own voice as an artist. So that's another thing that really excites us about building this thing going forward.
Yeah, I think that kind of sums it up.
Good. Why don't you tell our listeners about what you're going to be doing at the Florida Studio Theater in a couple of weeks?
We will be improvising musicals. Both shows will be a fully improvised musical. So the audience will give us a couple of suggestions of titles of musicals that don't exist. So we're not going to do Wicked. We're not going to do Hamilton. We're going to do, we don't know yet. So we'll get a couple of titles. People will vote on the one they want to see, and then we will perform that musical. Adrian will start to play. Our drummer will come in, and then we'll come out and on the spot, we're going to create the characters, the plot, all of the songs, all of the lyrics, every dance move, and create a narrative piece that is hopefully very funny. And also, we like to bring a little bit of heart, a little bit of that musical theater heart to it as well.
What I guess a producer is looking at the number of tickets he's going to sell and how long the thing is going to run. When they produce a revival of Cabaret, everyone knows what the songs are, and there'll be slight variations in the next, but it'll be almost the same every night. And then they can make some revenue by selling the album. In your type of a show, most people might not go back to see Cabaret 5 times in a year. Your type of show, people could come back 5 times and they'd see 5 different shows.
Yeah.
That's one of our biggest.
How many players?
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting.
I was going to ask, how many players do you normally put in a show? Singers and dancers.
Usually in our show in New York, we have 5 improvisers, experienced improvisers, plus our 1 guest. Sometimes we have 2 guests, and sometimes we do 6 improvisers, just depending on who's around and what the deal is. And then we also have a 3-piece band that Adrian leads.
So you have keyboard, drums, and what's the third instrument?
Here in New York, we have an amazing woodwind player. He brings a soprano sax and a clarinet and a flute, and he just swaps between them to create amazing textures. We also have an amazing electric guitarist who can come in and add so much cool flavor and different vibes to songs. So we swap between those 2 guys. The dream is, like, in the big scale production of this, having a more substantial band where we get to have all of these flavors and use all of them throughout the show.
That means the producer could sell many copies of the show that you saw, as well as shows that you didn't see.
That's right.
There are more revenue sources in an improv show, an improv musical, than I think in a standard Broadway show.
I agree.
Let's take a...
I was just going to say, you could sell the cast album from each night. Like, you get 8 cast albums a week. All I'm saying, if anyone listening to this is a producer and is interested, hit us up.
Yes, certainly. It's the show that has to close because it's different every night. And people really do.
That's right. It closes every night. It opens the next day. That's a really unique feature of what you're doing.
Yeah.
But let's take a short break here and listen to a Alzheimer's tip from Dr. Craig Curtis.
When we talk about the causes of heart attacks and strokes and peripheral vascular disease, we all know about things such as diabetes, smoking, and poor diet choices. Those are all called modifiable risk factors. You can change those and you can lower your risk. And then if we talk about non-modifiable risk factors, things you cannot change, there's a cholesterol that has been labeled the ghost cholesterol.
I've heard of good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Now I have to worry about a ghost cholesterol?
That's right. There's a cholesterol known as lipoprotein A. That cholesterol has been known about for a long time. However, scientists over the last decade have discovered that this is one of the major risk factors for heart disease, cardiovascular disease, cerebral vascular disease such as strokes, and peripheral vascular disease such as problems in the legs. And what they've discovered is that this is a genetically linked lipoprotein. What that means is it runs in families. And unfortunately, we've had no way to modify this.
To learn more, visit his website, craigcurtismd.com, or call 352-500-5252 to attend a free seminar.
Thank you, Dr. Curtis. Back with Kiki Middleton and Adrian Pellerin, and we're talking about improvised musicals. Okay? So let's give an example to our listeners of what an improvised musical might be like, because Adrian happens to be sitting at a keyboard.
Yeah.
Good story.
You can't see it, but it's down.
So here in the Villages, we have a lot of roundabouts. In New York City, we used to call them traffic circles, and they were very rare.
Yeah.
But in the Village, they're all over. So that's one. Number two, we have snowbird season in the Villages, which is different than many other places where more people come and the place gets crowded, okay? And congestion are beginning to reach their ugly head here in the Villages. And we have a lot of these, and each village has a set of traffic gates that you have to use your ID card to get in to the Villages, although we're not a gated community, if you can figure that one out.
And it's like a riddle.
And like a what?
Like a riddle.
A community that is gated has no gates. Or is not gated, but has...
It is not gated, but it has gates.
Yes.
And it has some gate guards, too. But you wave your hand, and they push the button, and you're in. They say they want to keep control of, know who's in, so they take a picture of your license plate as you come in. And they want to slow down traffic at the gates because we have, 165,000 people here now, and about 90,000 golf carts, which are capable of going a maximum of 20 miles an hour if they're legal. And there are a lot that aren't.
Okay.
So why don't you try to put together an improvised song about the Villages with all of that stuff in it?
Great.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to give you this mic. All right, because I need to access to the piano here. All right.
Stuck in the circle, which way do I go? I came down here to escape the snow. The first turn, the second turn, the third or the fourth. Somebody let me into my village. My village, let me into my village. It's not gated, but yes, there's a gate to my village. 40% more people coming to this place. Oh, I know them all by face. I wave to them in their golf carts, going only 20 miles per hour. That is plenty. In the villages, in my village, in my village, in the villages, in the villages, in my village, in my village. Gated, but not a gate. The other way around. My villages, in my village. Florida, I dream about Florida the other 6 months of the year. When I'm up here in New York, I'm thinking about my villages, my villages, in my village, in my village, in my village, in my village, my village. Because of the guards, no one can pillage my villages.
No one will pillage my villages.
My village.
My village.
Even when I'm sitting on 3 books
She's sitting on Sondheim books specifically. How appropriate.
Taking it in.
Yeah, musical stuff. Okay. Now, what do you think the future is going to be for your group Shitzprobe and this improvised musical? Is it really going to get picked up as a Broadway show?
Yeah, obviously. But until then, what do you think, Keith? I give my thought.
So right now we perform twice a month at Asylum NYC, which is in the Flatiron district. We do our 2-act musical twice a month, and we're always experimenting and reaching out to other theaters and just seeing where we can drum up interest. But I really think it's going to be a step-by-step process. If I had to guess, if I had to,
How big of
to future cast, I think it's like an off-Broadway run that does really well, because of course it would do really well. And then somebody with a lot of money who's wants to pass on the Disney property and instead invest in an improvised musical. It'd be a lot cheaper than other Broadway musicals.
Yes.
I'll say that.
But we've also talked a lot about trying something out on the West End. We had some conversations with producers about that in London, just because the West End can actually be a little bit more accessible than Broadway. And we've heard great things about London audiences, and we'd love to try a stint out in London. So that's on our radar.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's been a lot of years since I've been in the Broadway Manhattan scene, but I see what you're doing as a off-Broadway show.
Yes.
That you can run at a theater with 100 to 200 seats 7 nights a week if you wanted to, as opposed to trying to fill a theater with 2,000 seats.
That is more of a challenge.
Yes, very much.
Well, that's an advertising problem and a cost problem. So if someone wants to find out more about what Shitzprobe is doing, you guys have a website that they can go to.
Absolutely. It's shitzprobe.com. So it's SHITZPROBE.com. And we're also on Instagram at Shitzprobe. We're on TikTok at Shitzprobe. Our Instagram and TikTok are very fun. We post clips from our shows. So you can see like some sort of highlight reels from a bunch of our shows, improvised songs. You can get a feel for the rest of our cast and see the band in action. So yeah, if you want to see some videos, check that out. But we post all of our shows on our website. Yeah, follow us.
And we're also on Patreon,
yes,
which is a way that people can support from afar. And we have a $5 tier and we have a $10, our front row tier. And if you sign up for the front row tier, you get access to full recordings of the shows. Every show that we do in New York, we upload the whole thing. Yeah. So it's not quite as magical as being in the room. There's really something special that I love so much about what we do, which is it's being in the room with people, but it's still magical and very funny.
Yeah, and we love our show recordings. We also get like high quality audio recordings from the soundboard and we mix it. So it sounds really good. It's not just from a phone in the back of the room. Yeah, if you want to see
this is like a video room.
Yeah, video recording with high quality audio. Yeah, so check that out on our Patreon.
And how do people get?
Yeah,
it's on your Patreon page. Is there a direct link to that?
Yes. So if you go to our website, there's a link at the top that goes to the Patreon, but you can also just go to patreon.com/Shitzprobe. I'm just going to double check that's what it is. Patreon.com/Shitzprobe, spelled the same way. That'll bring you straight there.
Good. Is there anything that we've left out that you want to include in today's show?
Just that we're excited to come down to Florida Studio Theater and to see folks in Sarasota. We're looking forward to seeing you, Mike, and hope some other folks from there.
We'll definitely be there.
Yeah, awesome. We're also teaching some workshops while we're down there. That'll be super fun on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night leading up to our show. So that's April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. We're teaching an intro to musical improv and advanced musical improv, as well as some more details about like how we find the funny within our scenes. If you're interested in learning this stuff, that's a great way to dip your toes into it.
And you don't have to be a good singer to do musical improv. All you have to be is willing to sing.
Yeah.
I proved that.
You were great, Mike. You were awesome.
You were. And you were willing to find the funny, and that's all it takes.
I was apprehensive about doing it, but I got into it. And I gave my phone to one of the other players in the other cast to shoot the video of me doing it.
Yeah.
And all he managed to shoot was one still picture.
Oh, yeah. You got to come back and do more then.
That's right. I was unaware of the workshops. Again, why don't you tell our listeners and maybe improvers, because we probably have 50 or 60 improvers here in the villages that might be interested. Which dates are the workshops now?
So that's Tuesday through Thursday. That's April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I believe they're at like 6 p.m. And they're at Florida Studio Theater, where we are doing shows that following Friday and Saturday, the 24th and 25th. So that's all on the Florida Studio Theater website. If you go and find Shitzprobe on the Florida Studio Theater website, if you scroll down, all our workshop info is there too.
Been there when I did it because I didn't see it. Hopefully it's there now. Now, is there any special hotel deal that they can arrange?
Gosh,
Because
that I don't know.
you know, we looked at the hotel across the street.
Oh,
I think the Improv Festival ticket was like $79 last year for 2 nights, all the shows. And the hotel was $500 a night or something. The hotel in April is $750. And we looked at another hotel that was $1,400 a night. And we said, hey, we're going to stay at the Marriott 4 miles away.
Yeah.
cow.
I would do the same.
Is April like primo time?
I guess it's the season,
Yeah.
the end of the snowbird season.
Spring break, maybe.
I don't know what else is going on down there.
Yeah.
But we got to get you guys to come into the Orange Blossom Opry.
Yeah.
It'll be next season. They schedule almost a year in advance. And they bring in some top quality acts. They used to bring in comedy night every Wednesday night. But the guy, unfortunately, who was running it for him died. But the owners of the theater are very into music. They have a great variety. And they have their own publicity.
Yeah, we'll have to get in touch.
But hey, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us,
so
Mike.
much. We're looking forward to seeing you in Sarasota in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Remember, our next episode will be released next Friday at 9 a.m. Should you want to become a major supporter of the show or have questions, please contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. This is a shout out for supporters Tweet Coleman, Ed Williams, Duane Romick, Paul Sorgan, and Dr. Craig Curtis at K2 in the Villages. We will be hearing more from Dr. Curtis with short Alzheimer's tips each week. If you know someone who should be on the show, contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. The way our show grows is with your help. Text your friends about this show if you enjoyed listening. Use the fan mail button on our homepage, villagesvitality.life, to leave comments. Be sure to include your name, email, and phone number. We thank everyone for listening. The content of the show is copyrighted by Roth Voice 2026, all rights reserved.